Hi, welcome to Week 1, Unit 4. My name is Jens Mönig, and I'll be taking you through this unit, which we've called Be Reflective, Mirror Images. I'll be showing you how to build your first interactive app, a drawing app that will extend with a twist. Start out by checking the motion category and looking at the blocks. Take out a copy of the go-to block and drag it into the scripting area and look at the options in the drop-down menu. Select Random Position and click on the go-to block to find out what it does. You'll see it'll move to an arbitrary position on the stage. Click on it again and it'll continue doing so every time you click on it. Now try another position. Check out the center option in the drop-down menu and click on the go-to block, and, perhaps unsurprisingly, the sprite will go to the center of the stage. But for the purpose of this unit, we'll be experimenting with the third option, which is the mouse pointer. Let's try it. Select the mouse pointer and click on the go-to block. Oops, the sprite is gone. Where did it go? Look at where the mouse is. Maybe it's where the mouse is. Let's try to get it back. Again, check the center position and click on the go-to block, and there it is again. That is a useful option, resetting the sprite to where it is. So let's persist this and take out a when hat block. Here's a when the space key is pressed hat block, and we can attach it to the go to center block. Now, whenever the sprite goes somewhere and we want to return it to the center, we can just press space on our keyboard or click on the script to bring the sprite back to the center. Now again, go to the motion category and let's play some more with the go-to block. Take it out. Again, select the mouse pointer option, click on it, and again the sprite is gone. So to get it back, we simply click on space. That's not very interesting, is it? Let's try to repeat this a couple of times. In the control category, you already know the loop blocks. Here's a forever loop. We can drag this out and wrap it around the go-to mouse pointer loop. Now, if we click on it, again, the sprite is gone, but as you move the mouse pointer over the stage, it reappears, and it always goes to where the mouse pointer is. Now, if we click stop, it again is gone because it is hidden behind the stop sign, but you already know clicking the space bar brings it back into the center. Let's attach another hat block, another event to our mouse following script. That is when the green flag is pressed. We drag out the when the green flag is pressed block and attach it to the forever loop script. And guess what? Now, when we press the green flag, the sprite starts following the mouse. And when we stop it, it stops following the mouse. But if we press the space bar, it again is in the center. We've just defined two user interactions, pressing the green flag and pressing the space bar. As you can see, these hat blocks that come on top of a script are the ones that make for user interactions, that wait for the user to do something, and then the script underneath reacts to that. So let's play a little bit more with the go-to mouse pointer script. Let's try to make a drawing program, a sketching app. You've already experimented with drawing, didn't you? With following a path, with drawing angles and polygons. Let's try to draw what the user wants to draw. For this, we need the pen down and the pen up blocks. So we take out these two blocks. And what we want to do is we want to put the pen down when the user presses the mouse, and we want to lift the pen up when the user lets go of the mouse. So how do we do that? Waiting for the user to press the mouse and to release it are, as we say, conditions. So what we're looking for is what we call a conditional. And we find conditionals in the control category. And there are two, actually. They're called if and if else. Now you use if there's only one thing you want to do, and if else if there's an alternative. In this case, we want to either put the pen down or raise it up. So we have two things that we want to distinguish in between. So we take the if else block. We can drag it out and wrap it around the pen down block and put the pen up block into the else slot. Now we have a conditional that'll either put the pen down or lift it up, depending on what we place inside this condition slot. It's a hexagonal slot, which means it has to answer either true or false, otherwise known as Boolean values. So I told you we'd be putting the pen down depending on whether the user presses the mouse. Now we have to find out whether the user does in fact press the mouse, and that is something that you will find in the sensing category. It contains blocks that lets us find out whether something happens that is not happening right inside Snap, but on some peripheral. And in the sensing category, we find some sensing blocks for the mouse. Among others, we find this hexagonal block, which tells us whether the mouse is down. We can drag this one out and put it into the hexagonal slot of the if-else block. But of course, it's not enough to do this just once. We want to do this continuously. So let's wrap another forever loop around this. We can drag out the forever loop and wrap it around this. And we also want to start this whenever the sprite starts following the mouse. So we also drag out another of the hat blocks, another when the green flag is pressed hat block, and we attach that to the other script. What you see here is something that's new to you. It's two scripts that get triggered when the same event happens. When the user presses the green flag, both the forever go to the mouse pointer script gets triggered, and also the forever checking whether the mouse is down and drawing accordingly. These both scripts run in parallel. Let's try it. Click the green flag, and you can see both scripts are highlighted and both scripts are running, and the mouse keeps the direction and the sprite is following. Now I'm going to press the mouse button and see what happens. I'm pressing the mouse button and I'm moving the sprite. And you might have seen that it only draws a very tiny thing, and now the sprite actually has a shadow around it, but still keeps following the mouse. So what's happening? Apparently we've got a bug. What's happening is that as we press the mouse, that gesture also means something else. It also means pick up the sprite so it can be dragged somewhere else. And that gesture is interfering with the one that we're trying to make it do, which is to draw. So we need to resolve this conflict. Let's press stop. And here's a trick. And again, the sprite is gone. We press space. It goes back into the middle. Here's a little checkbox up at the top that indicates whether a sprite can be dragged around or not. By default, it's on because we want to arrange sprites on the stage. Now, for the purpose of capturing user events, we want to turn this off. So I'm clicking this checkbox to uncheck it, and now the sprite is becoming undraggable. Now let's try this again. Pressing the green flag, and the sprite follows the mouse. And as I'm clicking the mouse button and holding it, the sprite draws, and as I'm releasing it, it stops drawing. So now I can actually sketch things with this. Here's a little house. It has a door and a window. We've just made an interactive drawing program. Let's try to extend it a little bit. How do I erase these things? I want to draw another picture. First, stop it and press space again, so I'll see the sprite again in the center. Now we've set up the space go to center script to reset the app to its original state. In doing so, we can just use the same script to also erase what's shown on the screen. And you already know that we can use the clear block for this. So we drag out the clear block and put it into the space script. Now if we press space, it also erases what's shown on stage. Hey, let's try this again. Let's draw something. I'm drawing a star. And I can stop drawing it and resume at some other point. And I can press space to delete it again. Seems like it's working. Let's extend this little app and make it a little bit more interesting. We can do so by choosing an initial pen color. Let's put this here. Let's maybe put it to blue. And let's maybe make the line a little longer so we can use the set pen size to 5 to draw a bolder line. And here's a little smiley. There's one more thing I'd like to talk about, which is how does it actually work that the sprite follows the mouse pointer? Like, as you notice, whenever I press the stop button, the sprite is somewhere where I can't see it. How can I find out where it actually is? Now in Snap, every object has its position. And the position has 2 dimensions, an X dimension and a Y dimension. In the motion category, you'll find blocks that let us query the X and Y position, and they have, if you click on it, you'll see that the X position is at somewhere at point 217, and you can click on the mark right next to it to put a little watcher on stage. Do the same thing with the Y position, and we'll see that these are the coordinates of where the sprite is right now. Now, where is that? Let's press the space button. And now the sprite is visible, and we also see that the X position and Y position right in the center are both 0. We can do the same thing for the mouse. We switch to the sensing category, and we check the mouse X and mouse Y positions. And you can see as I move the mouse over the stage that both change. If I move the mouse to the right, the X position increases. And if I move the mouse upwards, the Y position increases. This is a concept that is called abstraction. Abstraction means hiding something behind something that is more convenient. The go to mouse pointer block that you'll see here really is something that makes the sprite go to whichever is the mouse's X and Y coordinate. So let's try and play with X and Y. Take out the go to X, Y block you'll find in the motion category and throw away the go to mouse pointer block in our main script. Let's insert this block in here And in the sensing category, you'll find the blocks that we've already marked to show as watchers. You can drag these out. Put the mouse X into the X slot of the go-to block. You can move the scripts along to accommodate more, and the mouse Y block into the Y slot. Now this should actually be the same thing. Let's try it out. Again, I press the green flag, and it's the exact same thing, and I can again draw. The process of replacing one script with another that in effect does the same thing but gives us some other opportunities is something we call refactoring. There, you've learned a $10 word. Now that this works, we can uncheck all these watchers. We don't need them anymore. And now you'll see why we've refactored our script, because what now comes is going to be even more interesting. Again, I'm putting the sprite in the center of the screen, and for the first time, you'll be working with not just one sprite, but with two. And for the purpose of this, we would just duplicate the sprite. In the sprite's context menu, there's a duplicate option. And we'll click that, and look, here's another sprite on the stage. It's called Sprite 2. So let's do something different with Sprite 2. We are already in the scripts of Sprite 2. Let's give Sprite 2 another color. We can click on the color block and make it red. Actually, the sprite isn't turning red, but it's drawing red, and by the time it first draws, this sprite will also turn red. So let's try this. Oh, there's just one red sprite following the mouse. Where did the blue one go? Is it gone? Let's press stop and put both back into the center. The blue sprite is gone. What happened? Well, maybe they're both there, but overlaying each other so that the one that we added later is overlaying the older one. Let's try to turn the red one and see whether the blue one is actually underneath. And we can do that by its context menu. Here is a rotate option that lets us rotate the sprite. As you can see, as we're rotating this, lo and behold, there is the blue one underneath. So I'm turning the red sprite in the opposite direction, and now both sprites are following my mouse pointer. Let's try whether our drawing program still works. Let's draw something. Drawing a wave. Now I'm only seeing a red wave. What happened to the blue line? Well, you guessed it. It is probably hidden underneath the red one, which is then drawn later over it. So wouldn't it be fun to let the red sprite draw something different than the blue one? So here's the surprise. Since we already have looked at the 2 dimensions of coordinates, let's try to change one of them. You already know that the center position is x0 and y0. So as the mouse goes to the right, x increases. What if we turn this around for one sprite? In the operators category, there is a minus block. Drag out the minus block and type in 0 minus, then drag out the mouse X block and replace it. Now, the red sprite will go to the opposite direction of where the mouse moves. Let's try that out. Look at that. We've just made ourselves a symmetric drawing program. Now, we can draw something with both sprites that'll turn out symmetric. This is something that is called symmetry, and it is done by reflecting and changing the direction of the dimensions of the coordinate system. Now, as you know, all of these scripts are happening at the same time. We have 2 scripts per sprite who are running in parallel, and 2 sprites who are also running in parallel. This is something that in modern programming systems is a central element, running things in parallel. I'm sure you can come up with other interesting things you can do with this, and we've got a very special exercise for you, and I'll be curious to find out how you'll cope with that. And that brings us to the end of this unit. Now it's up to you to be reflective and try out the exercise that we've provided for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the discussion forum. See you.